Welcome to today's class. I think so far you have already been studied something about Pascal law and its applications. Along with that, you have studied the basic meaning of the thrust, the pressure, liquid pressure, pressure applied by a liquid column, etc. Okay. Today we have also discussed what is gauge pressure. Gauge pressure is nothing but it is just the difference between actual pressure and the atmospheric pressure. When we subtract atmospheric pressure from actual pressure, whatever we are left with, that we call as our gauge pressure. So that we have already studied. We have also studied that the unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. Let us study some different units also. What are the different units? Different units of pressure. Number one is your SI unit, that is Newton per meter square. But you have to know this is also known as Pascal. It is derived from the Pascal scientists who have discussed Pascal law. Second one is in CGS we call it dyne per centimeter square. And then atmosphere. Sometimes we write pressure in terms of atmosphere. How strong the pressure is. It is four times atmospheric pressure. Instead of calling atmospheric pressure, we rather call just atmosphere. ATM. Okay, and this is equal to 1.03 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square or Pascal. Or Pascal. We can even write Pascal. PA. Okay. Now, for higher pressure, we can say we have to apply a very strong pressure at that particular area in a very high experimental physics. We take it bar of torque. One bar equal to 10 to the power 5 Pascal or 10 to the power 6 dyne per centimeter square. Clear? Similarly, we have this torque. One torr equal to 1 millimeter of mercury. 1 millimeter of mercury means that could also be said as it is around 1.03 bar. 1 atmosphere equal to 1.03 bar or 760 torr. The very important thing that we can sometimes write 1 atmosphere equal to 760 torr. TORR. This is a very common point with which we have to take this in daily life. Okay, these are the very important so-called your units of pressure. Before we discuss anything, we know from the ancient time around 256 BC, there was a scientist known as Archimedes, and therefore during that time we have been from that time we have been discussing something about buoyancy and Archimedes principle. Before we jump over to our new topic, that is viscosity, we can also have some primary study because we have already studied Archimedes principle in junior classes. But let us just have some revision of that thing so that we can have some idea about viscosity and other type of forces. Okay, and I think with this I am just uh, uh, removing the board. Yes. Now, when we discuss this buoyancy and Archimedes principle, let us study the buoyancy. What is that buoyancy mean? Something, some sort of upward motion, some sort of upward thrust or up thrust. Whenever we place a solid object, maybe a book or not just book, but maybe a plastic box or tumbler, glass tumbler, whatever be there. Whenever we put something in a liquid or in a fluid, then it experiences an upward force. It experiences an upward force from the liquid. Okay, and that upward force is called upthrust or we call buoyant force, and that phenomenon is called as buoyancy. Then that means when an object is placed in a fluid, then it experiences an upward force from the liquid, and that we call as buoyant force or thrust. Okay, it is always acting vertically upward. Remember, and this corresponding phenomenon is called buoyancy. This is what we have the term buoyancy means. Now let us come to the main topic of Archimedes principle. It is around 256 BC when this principle was discovered by Archimedes. What is that? When a body when a body is immersed in a liquid, then its weight is reduced, and this reduction in weight is equal to the weight of liquid displaced. This is what we call the principle of Archimedes. That is, when a body is immersed in a liquid, then its weight is reduced. Its weight is reduced. Remember, and this reduction in weight is equal to, that is, whatever amount of reduced mass. Okay, amount of reduced weight is equal to the weight of liquid displaced. Sometimes we replace liquid by the term more generalized, it is fluid. Okay, but basically it is used in case of liquid only. We basically take it only during the discussion of liquid. Okay, it is very obvious that suppose we have this is empty beaker and it is placed in a pan balance. It can give some weight. Okay, and now we have weighed something, we have weighed something, some object. We have weighed some object in that same pan balance. In the same pan balance, suppose we are measuring this. Actually here I just want to show that it is a balance, pan balance, and this is a beaker. Okay, here only the object is placed. Here only the object is placed, and its reading comes out to be, say, W1. Okay, and when it is placed, it is immersed in a liquid, and then reading comes out to be W2. Always remember the here. Don't think that W1 is the weight of this only, and weight of without water or with water there is something different from that. You know the weight of water, you have to subtract that already. You are not to take that into account. But basically we can measure it by means of applying a spring balance. We rather use a spring balance along with that, and suppose it is giving this one is not giving, but rather this one is giving reading W1. I am not to take it is not in contact directly, but rather it is in air. Okay, it is in air, and then its weight is say W1, and again I am using the same thing, same spring balance. Now it comes out to be W2. Again it is not touching the bottom of this. Here we must know this W1 is greater than W2 and the loss of weight equal to W1 minus W2. This must be equal to the weight of liquid displaced. Okay, since there is a beaker, initially we know what is the volume, and then increase of volume will be there once it is immersed, and we check that volume multiplied by the density, we can get that extra amount of water. Okay, and that will be the weight of liquid displaced. And this is, we have not to take it in a more elaborate way, but we have discussed only up to this what is in fact uh, fluid pressure, how we take different units of fluid pressure, and how we take the buoyancy term, and also we have seen what is the general meaning of Archimedes principle. Okay, and after that we will just take the basic concept of viscosity. Okay, and for that we have to raise the board. Let us take what is viscosity means. Okay, now the term viscosity is very similar to that we use the friction between two solids. Okay, but here we won't say that two liquids could not be taken separately in free state, but a liquid has to be placed inside a vessel, and there may be some layers, some relative motion between the layers. That means viscosity is that physical phenomena by which the relative motion between the successive layers is opposed, or it is resisted. Okay, that means it is a property of some liquid by which the relative motion between the successive layers of of the of the liquid is opposed. Well, this is the general idea about the thing. It is a property of some liquids, okay, by which all the liquids are not showing same characteristic. Remember, only certain specific liquids, which we call as our viscous liquid, okay, and therefore it is the property of some liquids by which the relative motion between the successive layers of the liquid is opposed. is opposed यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं, you can very easily see there are many successive layers. एक ही liquid है, उसमें कई layers है, उसे मैंने अलग अलग लेयर के हम लोग ने velocity मान लिया, v1 v2 v3 v4 v5 एक्सेट्रा. लोएस्ट वन का वेलोसिटी v5, हाईएस्ट वन का वेलोसिटी कितना v1 है. ये देखते हैं कि जितना जितना लिक्विड आपका फ्री स्टेट में पहुंचने वाले हैं या फ्री सरफेस के पास पहुंचेंगे, उसका स्पीड बढ़ जाता है. वी हैव टू नो दिस फैक्ट दैट the layers of liquid closer to free surface will have greater speed in comparison to those which are closer to the bottom of the vessel in which the liquid is poured. Okay, remember here V5 is closer to the bottom and V1 is closer to the free open space. That means the free surface. In fact, whatever, if we consider the free space surface itself as a layer, then its speed will be maximum V1, and this is V2, this is V3, V4, V5, etc. Okay, we have already gone through all such velocities V1, V2, V3, V4, etc. By which we have determined that this is a thing that as we are moving deeper in the liquid, the speed is reduced. Whenever some speed is reduced, what is general observation? We can only consider that it may be the cause due to the fact that there is at least some sort of resistance At least there is some sort of force of opposition which can oppose the motion. Okay, and here it is the force of viscosity which opposes the motion. It is the force of viscosity. Therefore, what is viscosity? Viscosity is a property of fluid. We would rather say it may be the property of liquid mostly we use, but here has also viscosity. Therefore, we must say that it is a property of liquid. Instead of calling it liquid, sometimes we can just write fluid. Some fluid by which the relative motion between the successive layers of the fluid is opposed. Okay, different fluids के लिए देखेंगे तो that is in fact opposed. Okay, now therefore most important thing is that relative distance between the two, and there is the change in velocity upon the distance between the layers has some important role to play, and that we call as um, velocity gradient. Velocity gradient is delta V upon delta Z, where delta Z is the distance between any two successive layers, and delta V is the change in velocity between those two successive layers. It is called as velocity gradient. Okay, and the force which opposes that, the force which opposes the relative motion is called viscous force. Viscous force. Okay, by means of different experiment, it is found that a viscous force is directly proportional to velocity gradient number one. It is also proportional to the area of contact. ये जो विस्कोस फोर्स होता है, ये दोनों चीज पे डिपेंड करता है. एक किस पे हुआ कि ये आपका वेलोसिटी ग्रेडियंट पे डिपेंड कर रहा है. दूसरा क्या है, ये एरिया ऑफ कांटेक्ट के बीच डिपेंड कर रहा है. यानी कि इफ वी राइट एफ इज प्रोपोर्शनल टू व्हाट वी राइट, एफ इज प्रोपोर्शनल टू डेल्टा वी अपॉन डेल्टा जेड इनटू ए. इतना लिख दिया. तो अब एक कांस्टेंट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनलिटी होगा यहाँ पर, दैट वी कॉल f equal to eta delta v upon delta z into a. Okay, and eta equal to f upon delta v upon delta z into a. This is called as coefficient of viscosity. This is called coefficient of viscosity. Remember, here the unit of this equal to how much? Newton. It is meter per second upon a meter. That meter cancel out only per second, and that is second minus 1, and this is your meter square. That means this is called coefficient of viscosity, and its unit is Newton meter minus 2, and it is second only, because a second is there in the denominator of this. Once it moves up, a second will be added, and this is equal to kg meter second minus 2 into meter minus 2 second. Ultimately we have kg meter minus 1 second minus 1. This is the unit of viscosity. Okay, whenever we call viscosity, that its unit will always be equal to how much? It is kg meter minus 1 second minus 1. Okay, that means you have determined this is the unit of viscosity, and it is also called as Poise. This is also called as Poise. Okay, and with that that is unit of viscosity is points. It's very common points, and with that we have taken we have covered viscosity term. And in the viscosity, there are many things like what we called Stokes law, Poisson's law, etc. That will be discussed in our next lecture, along with the different types of flow of liquid, like turbulent flow, streamline flow, etc. Okay, and I think we have completed this part, and next part will be taken in the next lecture. Thank you.